All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to game one of AMD versus 26, otherwise known as AMD users versus Blue Falcons. I love this intro shot there of our uh, flag at the front of that Shokaku. Beautiful. Now, as far as AMD, they are bringing a Shokaku, a North Carolina, a Baltimore, a Bayard, an Amalfi, and double Kid. What's Blue Falcon bringing?
Blue Falcons also bringing a Shokaku. Once again, carrier on each team. Their battleship Zath is a key. First time we've seen one of those today. Also
Hmm.
bringing Edinburgh. Also bringing, sorry, you didn't have an Edinburgh. You had an Amalfi. Both teams have an Amalfi.
Mhm.
Blue Falcons opted for an Edinburgh and a Chapayev. We assume then that the Edinburgh is radar. We won't know for a bit, but that's a safe assumption. And then also going with a Kid, but rounding things out with an Akazuki rather than going double Kid.
Yeah, interesting. I feel like Team AMD is bringing a little bit more anti-air to this battle. North Carolina's got pretty strong anti-air, but then again, so does the Key. But I feel like in terms of the destroyers, that the kids are unmatched, right?
Yeah, when it comes to AA, there's few tier 8 destroyers that can equal a Kid, right? She packs the defensive fire, the extra Bofors mounts that came with her late war modification, which is historical, and then of course she gets the what really makes her stand out at tier 8 is she gets a heal. So
Yep.
getting a Kid off the board is just a really exhaustive process if it's driven by somebody who knows how to take care of the ship, guard that health jealously, and know when to use it, when to pop in and out of detection and when to get out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now it looks like our Baltimore here in AMD has already come under some early fire. It looks like possibly from the Key.
Yeah, took a good solid hit from the Key there.
Now, I think there's two ships I'd like to talk about at the early stages as both teams jockey for positioning and trade blows. One is the carrier choice. Lexington being banned means, of course, you can't take that, so both teams opting for what they think is probably the next best thing, the Shokaku. Do you agree with that?
I probably do, and the thinking behind that is your only other options really at that point become, I think, the German carriers. You'd be talking about Zeppelin or Parseval,
Hmm.
which are not really known for their tactical flexibility. They're not bad ships, but they are really, if they're highly effective against specific targets, and then kind of less effective against a variety of things. Shokaku, her rockets are not as good as they used to be in terms of what they're able to do about assassinating destroyers, but the AP bombs are highly effective against just about every cruiser in the matchmaking she's going to see. The torpedoes are similarly highly effective against just about everything, and
Yep.
then the rockets are a matter of choosing the right ship at the right time and deploying them, well.
Sure. So look at player 22 Baltimore, by the way. We've been talking
Yeah.
about the ship, but these guys have been focusing hard.
Oh yeah. Still focusing hard. Another key and Edinburgh salvo going down range on him right now.
And
But they've lost sight of him. They can't see him, so those salvos all go a little too far forward.
And you mentioned the Key. That's the other ship choice that I think we should devote just a couple moments to talk about. The Key for Battleship is basically an A-hull Amagi. No, it's similar to the Amagi, but slightly different torpedo protection, bulge, all that good stuff. But the big thing about it is she's got Akizuki guns on the side, really good anti-air. She's got
Yes,
10-kilometer torpedoes with a pretty good arc to use it, which a lot of people I
yes,
think forget about.
very much so. Now, the other ship that I want to talk about in the lineup is we see here Epic Rebels Kid coming under fire here. He's got Shokaku torpedoes crawling up his stern as the Bayard's
Mm-hmm.
taking pot shots at him from the one line. I want to talk about the Bayard, because this
Mm.
was something that we saw last December when we ran a different iteration of the Verizon tournament, and it was at tier 8 for the first time, and it was a cash event primarily. But the difference then was we saw some very, very high level teams um, playing in the event with, they got to take their lineups, and we saw teams like '07, a multiple King of the Sea winner, taking Bayard and Kids out to the flanks because Bayard is able to do a lot of burst damage against a destroyer when it's spotted.
Right. So do you like you? So in other words, you like the pick of the Bayard here?
I like it as long as it's deployed correctly. What they would do is they would usually pack up. I think that tournament was 9v9, so it's going to be a little different here when we see a Bayard. But they were running a Bayard with two kids, and they would, or no, two Bayards with one kid. They would use the
Sure.
kid to lay the smoke screen, and then the kid would stay out of smoke as a spotter, and then the Bayards could comfortably sit in the smoke. And when the kid happened to stumble across an opposing destroyer, he could they could pop their reload boosters, and we watched them melt a number of destroyers that way, quite unexpectedly.
Yeah, it's kind of like the ultimate doom snail scenario there. So, oh, massive drop table now spotted, dodging all of that hate.
Yeah, dodging all of it. Does take a torpedo in there. Lots more shells going down range. The Edinburgh radar picked him out earlier. By the way, we do know in Sporkhead's Edinburgh is radar. We watched it pop just a little bit ago.
Okay.
But between the Amalfi and the Edinburgh, there is a lot of potential damage there on drop table as he takes yet another torpedo. Really great drops by Cable Guy right there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the question is he flooding now?
Now, let's take a look over at the 8-9 line, Zath, because things are starting to develop over here that I think they may not feel relevant now, but I think in about 3 minutes this is going to be a really interesting thing going on over here, right? The red spawn, this is Blue Falcons. They've left just Wadmore's Akizuki and Xylas Chapayev to defend this flank. They're getting pushed by a kid in an Amalfi, or at least the Chapayev is. He hasn't taken a lot of damage. He's just starting to take some here. But look how close the Shokaku is right there. That Shokaku is charging right down the 8 line, like almost on top of those two ships. He's going to have AP bombs with his Chapayev in a minute.
What's Uhunicum afraid of, right? Like, maybe the Akizuki torps, but, I mean, yeah, I really do like this push down this flank here.
We'll see if some of these AP bombs from Unicum Shokaku drop true on Xylas Chapayev. Looks like he got some overpens, but not much else.
Yeah.
Don't think he's gonna hang out for another drop there.
Nice thing is he'll be able to try again pretty quick.
But what it does is it puts a lot of pressure on Blue Falcons. These guys have got to be on comms, basically saying, guys, we can't hold back this push with the carrier here harassing us. We need help. And on the other flank, they're still trying to find their way into the A-cap. Now, they've beaten the opposing Baltimore down with an inch of his life, literally. VWS on 350 HP with an Edinburgh salvo going in. So let's see if they can get him off the board. Nope, they still can't. And they've lost sight of him now.
I want to mention something else important too. Back over at Sea for a sec, we saw the change over in team visibility. I don't necessarily know that Blue Falcons are aware of Uhunicum's position in that Shokaku.
They may not be. I mean, it's possible they've caught a glimpse of him along the way, but now he's literally in smoke. Well, kind of. No, he's right at the tail end of the Amalfi smoke, and it looks like he's stopped finally on the corner of that island.
Yep.
But
they can't see him.
He's done great work against Wadmore's Akizuki. He's taken 2 torps, and there's first blood finally. 8.5 minutes into the game, as AMD users Bags and Akizuki down here, and they're going to flip the C-cap to put even more pressure on the Blue Falcons.
I love it.
I do too. Now, Cable Guy's Shokaku has an opportunity here. They really need to get eyes on VWS's this player 22's Baltimore, right? Just so they can get him off the board. He's got 350 HP, right? A couple of kid shells will finish him off. They need that kill badly.
Oh, absolutely. Now the Baltimore's doing a great job, of course, of trying to stay outside of detection, and staying close enough to the North Carolina to kind of help him with anti-air as well as his teammate and the kid. So they're going to pay dearly for these spots. They have to come up with a kill.
But they've got to get the kill. They have to get this kill, Zath.
Right.
You cannot let a ship this low escape in a game where you can spot him, and they do get it.
There it is.
Points they badly need. They're down 150 points and continuing to fall because they only own the A-cap, and they've given up B and C.
And unfortunately, that means that they're basically bottled up in A, aside from that, I think it's Chapayev that's fleeing on the bottom part of the map.
Yeah, and the Chapayev is kind of in a 3-on-1, right? Anytime the carrier wants to send a strike after the Chapayev, the Amalfi and the kid can pitch in and help out, and like Xylas cannot hold out down here forever. It's only a matter of time before he becomes the second casualty for his team.
That's right.
Now, what's interesting to me, Zath, is that all of this has been occurring at the A-cap, and yet AMD North Carolina, to me, Zaf, has not felt super impactful over here, and yet they are still right now winning this game.
Mm-hmm. That's the power of cap control.
Yeah, yeah.
But I
Pius,
mean, oof, Bayard coming under some big hits there.
yeah, the key took a shot at him. Looks like they did connect, but the
We're about to
Chapayev
see.
is
Yep.
slowly going down here. He's firing AP into the forward belt of the Amalfi, and that's just not getting anything out of it.
Yeah.
It's about,
Not sure about that. Oh, I see.
yeah,
He's expecting him to turn like that.
yeah. He did finally turn, but Amalfi's armor is decent enough. The 6-inch AP might get some pens, but I don't know that he's going to get much else out of it. And now, just like that, AMD 20 seconds from a win here in game one.
Yep. Marauder though is pretty low. Obviously, that's the focus target for the Blue Falcons here.
They can still
Question is
spot him. They're running out of time.
7
Literally 5
seconds.
seconds. No, it's not going to happen. The shells would already have to be in the air. They're going to win. AMD is going to claim game one here, Zach.
Absolutely. Great game. Great opening battle between both teams here.
Yeah. So Zach, look back at that real quick. What's the kind of pivotal moment or play to you?
Definitely the push down the flank on the 9 line with Unicum supporting as closely as he was. I've never seen a carrier do that in competitive before, or maybe once before, and it's brilliant maneuvering of the carrier hull as well as management of planes in order to execute that without being detected or somehow countered. So that was
Yeah,
really good.
I love that as well. It's one of the things that I talk about on my, when I do Twitch streams and videos talking about in random battles, carrier hull position is in my opinion, one of the harder skills to master about playing modern carrier.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're able to do that, take an aggressive position and really make it work for you, it really does ramp up the combat effectiveness of a carrier. But I think the other thing
Right.
that I want to talk about a little bit, real briefly, is kind of the Blue Falcons. Like, you could see this push coming, right? You and I talked about it. Not once did they react by trying to rotate a ship back to help that flank. In fact, the carrier planes never even cable guys carrier planes never even go into that flank to help out. If I'm that Akizuki and that Chapayev, you definitely feel a little hung out because you're probably sounding the alarm and just not getting anything.
Well, and that speaks to the focus, right? That you've got that one cap that's the clear contest cap, and their thought was, I must win this contest at all costs, and unfortunately, it cost them the game, and they
Yeah,
still never really won it. But
yeah.
I was going to ask you, one of the questions I was going to ask you was, do you think it was the ships or the execution that caused this victory for AMD? And I definitely think it was the execution.
Yeah, no, I'm absolutely execution. Absolutely execution. Like, I like their lineup, but there's nothing wrong with their lineup. But to me, this is all execution, right? You're watching
Right.
a team that recognized very quickly a potential right there on that 8-9 push and moving the carrier up with it. You've got him there for A support. His planes are there for close support. You have a 3v2 right there, right? The carrier acts as another player. His planes are on those other ships very quickly. He got 2 big torpedoes into the opposing Akizuki, and once that happened, it was over. So yeah,
Right. Well,
kudos to both teams.
absolutely. What do you say we turn it back over to our studio?
You do that.
All right.